Would you ever consider living in another country?
I would have said Canada up until recently. Now Canada's falling apart. All the shit that they did during was just the total wrong direction. The trucker convoy, when they froze people's bank assets. You can't make honking your
horns illegal.
Bro, they froze people's bank accounts that donated money to the convoy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And what's
peaceful protest, which everybody's supposed to be all about.
Right.
These people that were protesting vaccine mandates and
right.
the lockdowns, and they fucking went after the people that donated, which is crazy.
Yeah. And you can track all that shit. And
yeah.
They tracked everything.
They shut their bank accounts down.
That's crazy, man.
You
can't buy a piece of toast.
That makes people self-censor. And that's the terrifying aspect of that. And that's the thing that people won't say. It's not that big of a deal. They gave them their bank accounts back eventually. Look, that's sending a very...
Eventually? What does that even fucking mean?
What does that mean? Yeah. It's sending a very clear message that they can with you in ways that you probably hadn't thought about before. They can with your money. They can close your bank
Never
down.
even thought about it.
Never thought about it.
Never even thought about it.
Yeah.
And
they can close your bank down.
So how do you feel about the government's digital currencies?
What's up, guys? Two towering voices of our time, the biggest podcaster on the planet and a megastar artist, Post Malone, have just dropped some truth bombs on the world as they didn't just discuss CBDCs, they threw open the curtains on the dark secrets of the potential tyranny lurking in the digital dollar. These discussions becoming mainstream leads me to believe the great Bitcoin awakening is upon us. Taboo questions once whispered are now shouted from the mountaintops. What is money, and why are we forced to use the money that steals from us? Bitcoin is not just some new currency. It's a shield against the dystopian future where our money becomes a digital puppet master. The rise of Bitcoin is the rise of a new kind of power, a tool of defense in the face of financial manipulation. But guys, buckle up. We're going to dive into this epic conversation as the fight for the future of money is also the fight for freedom. Let's get it.
Then you get FOMO.
I don't think it's mean. I think it's kind of mean to tell you what to do, especially if you're on vacation.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
No, I don't know Greg.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Let's dive into the conversation right here. Post Malone, Joe Rogan, and this kind of hits on time preference, but let's spin it.
Got kind of hoodwinked into this idea that the key to a successful life is working more than you should.
Sure.
You know, and that's the way. It is kind of the way to get ahead. I mean, it is a competition, and there are people out there that are going to hustle harder than you. But if you're not enjoying yourself, if you don't balance it out with enjoying yourself, you're going to have a shitty existence. And the whole point is to have a good existence, have a fun existence.
Sure.
It's not just about success, but everybody's so driven to just get ahead that it's hard for them to separate those two and realize there's a balance. Like you can't drink Coca-Cola all day.
Right.
You know, there's a balance.
Right.
You drink it occasionally. And that balance, you can achieve it. But it's very hard to when you got your eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. They want you running twice as fast, working twice as hard, for twice as less. And that is what fiat money is, a 100% guarantee that it will debase over time. And it's lost 90% of its purchasing power since the Fed was created in 1913. That is what leads people in these directions. And it's misaligned people's incentives. Corrupt, dysfunctional money leads to corrupt and dysfunctional allocations of value, and thus we have a dysfunctional and corrupt society. I think there's a lot of things going on right now that kind of point in that direction, but we got a lot more to cover. Let's get to this next part where they're kind of hitting on making fun of the media and the propaganda machine.
We don't have respect for institutions anymore. We don't have respect for mainstream media for a lot of fucking reasons. We don't have respect for mainstream news. We look at them like, all right, maybe this is real.
Right.
We don't look at it like
you
this
take
is
everything
the unbiased.
With that grain of
salt.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we know that there's deep political agendas in reporting any story, in the perspective, the editorializing of these perspectives. It's just there's a lot of what humans are is what we're getting influenced by. And when you're getting influenced by propaganda and horseshit all the time, it has an effect on you, whether you like it or not. It might not be 100% effective, but it has some sort of an effect on you where you're willing to let these people who are just people, they're no different than you and no different than me.
Right.
But you'll let them talk to you and talk to us as if they are in control of us.
Right.
And that is not supposed to be how America works.
Right.
And that's just a natural human power structure thing that we've had since we were tribal creatures. It's a natural inclination to want to be that and want to do that. But we have to protect against that at all costs. Because just because it seems like you would like those things to be implemented because they fit your perspective and your worldview, the problem is now there's tools in place for tyrants.
And I think that is just a powerful statement, and we've seen these things used around from Canada, and we'll get into that later. But Joe kind of gets into this next part of the discussion here. We talk about the fourth turning, and Brandon Quittem has hit on this, and it's referencing that old book, but with the Bitcoin application to it. He's talking about, we are in that weak men creating hard times right now. Again, when you look at it, it all goes back to incentives, and the fiat money system has misaligned incentives that benefits the cantillionaires, the people closest to the money printer, and they're the ones that are making the calls on what is thrown in your face every day. But let's get into this in the fourth turning talk from Joe Rogan.
And now there's tools in place for people who don't share your perspective and don't have a charitable view of human beings and are ruthless and maybe psychotic.
But that's the beginning. That's the beginning of it all too.
Yes.
It's been happening, like Nero and fucking just like Rome was super like everything. You look at like everything. It was a republic. Like everybody had a vote. Everybody had a say. But the guys who were running, everybody was drinking from lead. And everybody was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they had lead drinking vessels.
And it was just insane. And this dude built this statue, like fucking 100 feet tall of himself. And then Rome set on fucking fire, and it's crazy. And that's just been happening, and it's been repeating for forever. And I don't know exactly how long, but history repeats itself. And then you look at a cycle of like how civilizations come and go this way, and it's just like, I don't know.
I know when I was a kid, I used to think about America that way. When I was a kid, I was like, well, you read about ancient Greece and ancient Rome and these great civilizations that they fell. Like, what happened? Did they see it coming? And I was like, would I see it coming? Would I know it was coming? Is it going to happen to us?
Right.
We don't want to ever think it could happen to us because we're on the top. We're number
Right.
one. We're fucking America.
Well, we're the youngest fucking country in the fucking world.
Yeah. And it can happen to us.
Oh,
and you got to be real careful that we don't become just like all these ones that we talk about when we say, boy, be glad you're not living in that place. Because places go through cycles.
But yeah, history does repeat itself. It does rhyme. And this is what Saifedean was talking about in the Bitcoin Standard. And what also is connected to all of these empires through time that have collapsed. Well, they spread their empires too far, tried to become like the policemen of the world, and they debased their currency because, well, they couldn't actually directly tax the people because they wouldn't give them their money voluntarily. So they had to debase and shrink the gold content from the coins in circulation until finally they were just valueless. Also connected with the expansion of the empire, also mirroring the US today. And we talked about this in another video, like what would be the steps down to dystopia and the implementation of CBDCs. And we're really about to hit that in the discussion here, kind of getting back into the intro. We're about to get to the real good stuff. Let's go.
Getting scary, man.
It's crazy.
Because I think when people get through wars, when they get through, like a civilization gets through an era, they have this feeling like a lesson was learned. I don't think we learn our lessons, especially when there's a lot of money involved in continuing the same kind of behavior. And I think that's where we find ourselves right now. And that's where the people that are very alarmed by this and they're really scared by this, I think they're right. This is the time to be very alarmed because it just seems people are way too casual about wanting this to happen and wanting us to fund this and beat Russia and all this whole craziness of war. It's so complicated too with the UN and NATO, and it's so complicated. All of it is like there's so much going on.
Well, they're trying to play Magic the fucking Gathering.
Right.
In the fucking world with real fucking people.
Right.
And this doesn't just affect Ukraine or Russia. This affects everything.
Everything. If they start nuking each other, oh my God.
Oh, it's over. Joe, it's over.
Oh my God.
It's over.
But I love what he said there. Like, they're playing Magic the Gathering with people. These evil centralized states and governments and institutions using people, pitting them against each other. But let's get deeper down the rabbit hole here as Rogan and Post Malone are headed towards the mea culpa of the conversation. Let's go.
You just said it right. There's people out there playing Magic the Gathering with real human beings. That's what war is, man. And that's the weird thing about war in this age where people are we're more connected now than we've ever been before. And so we realize, like, it doesn't make any sense that we're being led by these leaders that have us fighting over territorial swaths of land and control of resources. It doesn't make sense.
Or just like my religion's right, yours is not.
Right.
I'm right, you're wrong. We're going to fuck everything up or try to.
As the world becomes more globally oriented, and realizing that there's just people. There's people in India. There's just people in China. There's people in Russia. The problem is who they're led by. And when they lead you into this position and control the population to a position where they can't do anything other than the will of the leaders. Yeah, I'll take one. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's where, that seems like the only positive direction that I see moving forward is that people think about the world as one place now more. Instead of I don't think people are as nationally centric as they used to be. We're paying attention to shit that's going on in Australia. We're paying attention to shit that's going on in Hong Kong. People are really paying attention to the world now that I don't think they did as much in the 1950s or the 1960s. I think with the internet, I think people are very tuned in to all kinds of weird shit that's happening everywhere.
I can think of something that just happened, the past few years that it seemed like Western democracies just completely devolved into authoritarianism throughout the Constitution and individual civil liberties. And that is where we're headed as Joe is about to get into Canada and the ramifications of a CBDC.
Yeah. It's sending a very clear message that they can fuck with you in ways that you probably hadn't thought about before. They can fuck with your money. They can close your bank down.
Never even thought about it.
Never thought about it.
Never even thought about it.
Yeah.
And
close your bank down.
So how do you feel about the government's digital currency that they're working on?
No fucking way. No way. That's what I think. I think that's checkmate. That's game over.
That is fucking checkmate.
Because if they apply that to a social credit score, if they decide somehow or another that you need some social credit score system and it's for the benefit of society, and they outline that they can, track your behavior and your tweets and all your things, and you get a score. And if
already doing that, they just haven't released the fucking report cards.
Well, they don't have the kind of freedom that they like.
They didn't send the report cards home to the parents yet.
Right.
Everything is already imprinted. Everything is already tracked. Everything is already there.
But
we just haven't given a denomination.
They just can't control you to the same extent that they would like. And what they would like to do is to be able to strip you of your money.
It's so interesting that in like a lot of recent Joe Rogan conversations over the past few months, we've seen a lot of guests and talk about how serious a CBDC is. I got to be honest, Post Malone was one of the last people I thought I'd hear talk about CBDC. And honestly, I hate the guy's music. Mumble rap's not my thing. More into lyricists, But I've been surprised by what he's had to say here. But again, you've got governors, presidential candidates, congressmen writing laws to make a CBDC illegal in the United States. So I think that is pretty incredible, and we're seeing this. So the opposition is there. And again, this is further advertising for why we need Bitcoin, but we'll get to that in the closing. Let's finish this up. Still some great sauce right here, so let's get it.
Lock you down. And then make sure that you comply so that all the other people also comply because they don't want to be stripped of their money. They don't want everything they work for just be taken away instantly overnight and be powerless. No one to call. No one's going to answer your phone. They just decided you fucked up and the rules are the rules. And so then where does that money go? Who takes your money? Who takes... And that's what when people start profiting off of confiscating people's digital currency, it's going to be a real fucking problem.
Well, it's not all fucking currency is digital.
Yeah, but the idea of them controlling all of the money.
And it's all unilateral.
Yeah.
It's all the same fucking thing.
It's all the same fucking thing.
That's a problem. And here's the problem, I think, is that people are going to do it due to convenience of it.
Yeah.
Probably. No one wants to carry around cash anymore. Cash is gone.
Yeah.
No one wants to carry around cash anymore.
I saw a video of a lady paying for her groceries with her fingerprint at Whole Foods. That's the way to do it. The way to destabilize society is make things as lawless as possible. And then people will do whatever they need to do in order to bring back some semblance of normalcy. What do I have to do? What rights do I have to give up? What do I have to give up? I'll do it.
Well, you got to submit to the one world currency.
But guys, what's unfolding here isn't just a tussle over currency. It's a battle for the soul of our future. What's the prize? Nothing short of freedom and the very essence of our humanity. In one corner, we have the behemoth of controls, central banks, and their digital currencies lurking in the shadows with promises of convenience, like Post Malone said, but also a major sinister tone of tyranny. And then there's the underdog, the gritty rebel with a cause, Bitcoin. It's not just another digital token. It is a declaration that freedom matters. It is a rallying cry against the chains of financial manipulation. It's the antidote to the poison of digital enslavement. But also, the fight against CBDCs isn't a solo act. It's a symphony of voices, a chorus of change that includes not just presidential hopefuls, but the Joe Rogans, the Post Malones, the Simply Bitcoins, the Toxic Happy Hours, the Orange Pill Podcast, the Bitcoiners, and the growing throng of everyday people who've had enough of the puppet show. And they're saying enough with an unapologetic you to the surveillance state of CBDCs. They see the problem, and we're here to show them the solution. Bitcoin isn't crypto, it's a movement, and it's an orange banner of freedom that transcends borders, ideologies, and backgrounds. So as we sign off, remember this: the fight isn't over, it's just beginning. It's a fight for freedom, a fight for humanity's future, and it's a fight where every voice matters. Every individual becomes a warrior for financial sovereignty. So let's unite under that banner of Bitcoin, where the revolution isn't just about money. It's about securing a future where we, the people, truly mean something. So stay informed, stay empowered, and let's write history together. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep that Bitcoin torch burning bright. If you're a Joe Rogan fan, so am I, and we have some great episodes from the Joe Rogan Experience, so be sure to check those out and share the Sound Money Gospel. Tune in to Simply Bitcoin every day and follow us on Twitter for all the latest news, and we will be your guide through the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. I'm your host, Rustin, and we are Simply Bitcoin. Catch you all tomorrow. Peace.